Hello, my name is Tom, and today we're going to take a little bit of a chill pill. That's right, today's going to be more of a super chill and relaxed video. We're going to cover something that isn't about assault or grooming or even gooning. Now, that may be a shock to some of you that there are dramas that don't involve that, but they do happen. And today's story is pretty interesting regardless, because today we're going to be taking a look into the realm of this little fella named Pirate Software. Now, for those of you who haven't already heard of Pirate Software from this drama, don't worry, because I barely had either. I mean, I had heard the name before and I had seen him existing, but I didn't really know exactly who he was until I realized he's the MS Paint YouTube Shorts guy. There's a good chance, even if you have not seen this drama at all, you have seen at least one Pirate Software short for like half a nanosecond as you mindlessly doom scroll through YouTube Reels. And that was really his main claim to fame. That's what blew him up. Pirate Software has dozens of Reels that have over 10 million views, where he basically whips out MS Paint and talks about a subject seemingly as a super duper smart gamer, but also a Chad guy with a deep voice. Personally, my favorite one of these is when he revealed that his father was the fat neckbeard that South Park based their fat neckbeard character off of in the South Park TV show.
No, my dad didn't inspire the WoW guy from South Park. My dad is the WoW guy from South Park. He was the cinematic director for Blizzard for 23 years. He worked on the episode with Matt and Trey, and they turned him into a character. That's him. Yeah, that's actually him. Yeah. It's not a joke. That's not like a similarity. Like, that's him. This is his apartment. This is him. Even the guy that cosplayed my dad didn't know he was real, but no, he's a real guy.
But before this entire situation, Pirate Software was generally well respected, and for the most part, his content is about as uncontroversial as you can get. And that's why it was so shocking for thousands of people when he got wrapped up in this massive controversy that completely spiraled out of control. And now it seems like millions have lost their respect for him and are accusing him of being a fraud, cheating in video games, and even weirdly faking his own voice. What started as just bad World of Warcraft play has escalated into basically unmasking Pirate Software as a very strangely behaving person that many can't stand anymore and find very annoying, find very obnoxious. And today, we're going to be getting into all of it.
You weren't paying attention to party resources, you overpulled, and you weren't paying attention to where the boss was. That's not on me.
I saw about
just take some blame, goddammit. Just a bit.
I don't know if we could like,
it's okay.
Move back.
Not
faster,
a big deal.
So this entire drama started with World of Warcraft. Now, I personally have never really played this game, but many people have, and have extensively explained the World of Warcraft situation, which seems relatively straightforward to understand for me, but if I get any slight detail about World of Warcraft wrong, just know I don't play this video game before you comment. Actually, Tom, the spell you're referring to is a level 5 Ice Shard spell that extends the Ice Shard into the enemy's asshole and does not use the element of fire, okay? If you do that to me, if you leave that kind of comment, I will be hunting you down in the woods and doing things to your nude body.
Hang up that computer call. Come over here and kiss me on my hot mouth. I'm feeling romantical.
So to break this down in the simplest way possible, World of Warcraft has group-based content called dungeons, where players work together to defeat enemies that are stronger than usual. Think of it as like raids if you play Destiny. You and your buddies all have a group where you defeat all the other super hard NPCs. Now at the time, Pirate Software was playing a version called Hardcore WoW, where a character's death results in a permanent loss. This is very significant because reaching the maximum level can require up to 100 hours of playtime, and if you die, that is hundreds of hours of character progression that is just instantly lost that you cannot get back. If you've ever played permadeath on a game, you know what I'm talking about. That booty hole, that asshole is clenched throughout the entire playthrough.
Man! Bathroom!
What, hon?
Bathroom! Bathroom!
And as such, cohesive teamwork is absolutely vital, and mentality is really half the battle.
Oh, that's a big boy, isn't he?
If you and your team are getting messed up by some enemies and you start panicking, that could spell the end of your entire team. So, keeping your cool, having a good mental state, and coordinating with your entire team is essential to success here. Enter Pirate Software. Pirate was a part of a group called OnlyFangs, which is basically just a guild full of streamers that had to stream whenever they were playing, like Soda Poppin' and Mizkif and all those sort of OTK peripheral guys on Twitch. Well, during one dungeon run, Pirate and a couple of others were on one of the hardest maps in WoW called Dire Maul. So that, plus playing on hardcore, made tensions already high. But then, their group accidentally engaged multiple enemy groups and a boss simultaneously, making the situation pretty unfavorable to them. So they decided to retreat. In hardcore WoW, retreating involves a coordinated effort where players support each other by healing teammates or controlling the enemies while escaping together. This is like a full-on military operation. Watching these guys play this game game is less like watching a bunch of friends have fun and more like watching Band of Brothers. Now, Pirate Software, playing as a mage, ran without helping his group. When he was urged to return and help out, he claimed to be out of mana, which is the resource needed for spells. However, that was false, as he had 2 items that could restore his mana, and he had deliberately wasted his mana when he was confronted about it.
Heal him.
Yeah, you just heal me. Just come back a little bit.
Boss is on me, sitting bear form.
Snuppy, just run.
I can help a lot. Yep.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I walking? Look
This
at my mana.
is savageable. Come
Innervate
on,
you?
man.
Just kill the mastiffs.
Innervate.
Innervate the healer. Kill the mastiffs. We got this.
Heals.
In the sense of
War stomping.
Do you see my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
just kill the mastiffs. One shot. Okay, we
More
pulled
on
another
the way,
pass.
more on the
Run
way.
now.
Ultimately, he and a few others did survive, while 2 other group members lost their characters permanently because this is hardcore.
They called
boss
run,
came up after,
I
like, the
ran,
Mastiffs
and I was
too,
out of mana.
after we,
I don't know what the hell they were expecting, dude. That does not make any sense. No. They overpulled 2 pulls and the boss. Like...
Now, mistakes were made by a lot of people in the group, which is common in the game. Players are expected to handle errors by taking responsibility and learning from them. However, Pirate Software denied any responsibility, insisting he was not at fault, he had nothing to do with it. When he was confronted as to why he abandoned the team, Pirate said he had to run, he just had to go, he had no choice.
You instantly ran. You didn't even look
As much
back.
as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
I'm not angry at all.
You
I'm not angry at all.
overpulled 2 packs. You overpulled 2 packs and a boss. I had 1,400 mana left. I had to spend all of that mana to try and put it on Blizzard to save you guys in the first place, and nothing left. You weren't paying attention to party resources, you overpulled, and you weren't paying attention to where the boss was. That's not on me. No 100% danger. When your shot color says run, it's time to run, you run. That is how that works. You were the shot color, you called for run, I ran.
I'm not a shot caller.
And I was out of mana.
Actually, I'm a noob, bro. I
You
think I
called
have
the
way
shot.
less experience than you have.
Oh dear God.
And I can still see that I can at least use a Frost Nova there. Or at
Okay,
least try
then go-
something.
go roll a
You were
mage
the
and do
first
it.
person that ran away and didn't even look back.
And it's at this point we have to introduce a new sort of archetype in hardcore WoW, the shot caller. See, the shot caller is basically someone who calls out commands for the team, so everyone knows what's going on and can coordinate better. In Band of Brothers, this is Captain Winters. He's coordinating everyone. He's trying to be a good leader, and if he fails, if your commanding officer fails, it's potential that the responsibility of the entire team failing is partially on him. This isn't exclusive to World of Warcraft. It applies to a lot of other multiplayer games where people are really autistic about them. So, for example, if someone needs heals or the boss is low on health, or in this case, if the entire team needs to retreat, the shot caller is going to issue a 1 or 2 word command so the entire team can follow. For those of you who have never played online team games before, hearing what Pirate Software said might seem like a fair point. The shot caller did say to run, so he ran. The issue, though, as I said before, is almost always when you're playing a team game, when someone says run, he doesn't literally mean every man for himself. It's more like, let's all retreat together, let's all fall back together, and try keeping each other alive while we escape. This is like if in Band of Brothers, when they're fighting in Normandy, if Captain Winter said fall back and Garnier just instantly ran, did not shoot his weapon at all, and left his entire team. So unless the shot caller is outright saying every man for himself, if you die, that's on you, when he says run, he means keep everyone alive and let's retreat in a coordinated fashion. This is especially the case when it comes to hardcore, because as I said, hundreds of hours of playtime are on the line, so keeping your team alive could mean the difference between weeks of not being able to stream with your group because you have to grind up to the level you were at again, or being able to continue streaming with that same group and not having any issues, right? And another thing to keep in mind here is that this is all live streamed, so if your character dies permanently, you may not be able to make as much money because you're not going to be able to play with that team anymore. So as they kept talking about what happened, Pirate Software really refused to take any responsibility for essentially being a deserter, and instead he started blaming the other teammates for their deaths. When he was given the slightest amount of pushback, he absolutely raged and just left the call that they were in.
This is the
You didn't even
second
say
time.
anything.
This
You
is
could
the
have at
second.
least said like the boss.
You're just gonna talk over me? Is that what we're doing now?
Well,
We just gonna talk over me? Is that all? Is that all
I'm
we're
just
doing?
giving you my points.
Okay. You done giving your point? You good?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. Cool. You go roll a mage then. See you around. Jesus.
I don't think that's.
Insane shit. No. That is outrageous, dude. You can't blame me for that shit. You make a bad poll, you make a bad call, that's on you, not on anybody
Yaflid
else.
donated $69.69 to charity.
They give the $69.69 to charity. You're awesome as hell. Yeah, no. They pull that with the mage at no mana left. And they pull 2 packs and a boss. What the hell am I supposed to do for them? I could have Frost Nova'd, and the boss would still run him down and kill him. It's not on me.
Keep in mind here, Pirate Software still had his character. He was chilling, but his friends had just lost hundreds of hours that they sunk into theirs, partially because he had run away instead of staying back to support them. Even if he was somehow 100% in the right, and it was totally his teammates' fault that they died, that doesn't mean he should be the one getting mad and flying off the handle here, having a rage quit moment. When something like that happens, literally the best thing you can do is just sit there, be quiet, let your teammates rage a bit, and take responsibility for the parts that you did wrong. You didn't lose anything. Meanwhile, his teammates had just watched weeks worth of work evaporate in front of their eyes, and Pirate Software is the one getting mad because his skill was called into question and his pride was hurt.
Yeah, it's just him trying to blame somebody because he doesn't want to blame himself. That's a mistake on them. And I'm not going to get blamed for that. Not my fault at all.
Now, this sparked a lot of criticism, as viewers could review the footage showing him intentionally wasting the mana and neglecting to use items to restore it, as well as just abandoning his entire team. He's a deserter, basically, right? He needs a military police investigation here. Sobel is going to be on his ass from Band of Brothers. You know, the guy from Friends who was in Band of Brothers? The guy who looks like Italian Rayman as a human. Over the following days, the backlash grew as his actions were seen as a deliberate choice to avoid helping his group. Pirate also chose to speak with Asmongold around the same time, which really furthered the criticism. Now, Asmon is definitely a controversial figure, and Pirate's decision to appear on his stream drew additional backlash. And so, after the initial appearance, Pirate chose not to discuss the matter further on Asmon's stream.
It's better. Wow. Who the drinks this shit?
But before I go any further, it's time to make a little dosh. From today's sponsor, Gamersupps, the best energy drink in the freaking game. Gamersupps is packed with everything you need to stay calm, focused, and locked in without everything you don't need. It's the energy drink with 0 calories, 0 sugar, no headaches, no blood sugar spikes, unlike every other energy drink, and it's only 40 cents per serving, making it extremely affordable. They've got all these fun flavors like Chug Juice, Crusaderade, Kissy Kissy Passion, and every single one of them tastes great. They've even got a caffeine-free option if you're a total pussy. You guys can all get 10% off Gamersupps right now using code TOM at gamersupps.gg. Click the link at the top of the description to get that deal right friggin' now. And now back to making fun of people because I love it so much. Don't love you though. Around this time, clips surfaced of Pirate criticizing other mage players during past streams. And in these clips, he had previously stated that the mage class is capable of saving others and had been critical of other players who had failed to do so. Additionally, other clips showed him being highly insulting and dismissive towards a newer mage player during a stream, including remarks like, "Oh, we had 2 mages? I didn't realize," while belittling the other player. These incidents added to concerns about his behavior and really compounded the backlash around him.
I've watched it, like Jay Beezy died the other day. Like there were no sheeps going out, there were no blizzards going out. Apparently he didn't have the spec for blizzard for slows, but like that's exactly why I run that spec. Because like when shit goes sideways, you save lives, man.
Now, as a result of this drama going down with such a high profile around it, because he was collabing with like Mizkif and a lot of other popular people at the time, streamers started reacting to the clips of him as they garnered more views, and eventually Sodapoppin, the leader of OnlyFangs, would react to it on stream and call out Pirate for his bad sportsmanship and lack of taking accountability.
I don't think he got them killed on purpose. I think he just sucked ass and panicked.
Ogre killed one and then walked it out.
And from what I gather, again, I haven't deep dived this stuff, but from what I've gathered, he never said he did anything wrong. I mean, like, again, like, I'm not going to fault the guy for sucking. Like, he did not use his toolkit, did not use his mage properly.
Now, frankly, this wouldn't be as big of a deal if it weren't for the fact that Pirate represents himself as this really good player at World of Warcraft because he's an ex-Blizzard employee, and he's like a super highly skilled veteran, when in reality, he made a blunder so bad that even a noob wouldn't do it. That's not to say his entire WoW career is fake or he's pulling like a total Elon Musk or anything. Clearly, it still takes a good amount of time and effort to get to the stage he was in hardcore. It just seemed like he wasn't as good as he talked about previously. So these clips started growing in views, and pretty soon almost every streamer was reacting to them and replying by calling Pirate Software a rat or a bad teammate. So many people called him a rat, it was almost like a racial epithet being thrown at him. He got destroyed, okay? He got absolutely mogged. World of Warcraft, racism, W.
So no, I didn't trust the group to survive. And no, I wasn't going to go back on the call of them saying, run, 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 it's time to run. So no.
It's a lot of confidence in being wrong.
Now, Pirate's response to this was to double down, refuse to take any accountability, and refuse to admit that it was his fault. He basically had a spurg out. And he would then triple down in a Twitter statement, which is so funny. Like, usually when you see a Twitter statement like this, it's about touching someone inappropriately, f***ing someone, messaging a child, but instead this is like messed up in World of Warcraft. To those trying to character assassinate me online for a bad pull in Dire Maul, World of Warcraft hardcore, this is hardcore WoW, and a lot is on the line when you step foot into a dungeon dungeon. Everyone played poorly and 2 people ultimately lost their characters for it. Each person in this group made mistakes, including myself. I have never once said I was perfect in my play, nor that I was a god gamer. I'm just an ex-Blizzard employee that has played Mage for a long time. To pin that on a single person is absurd at best, and if you're calling for death and cancellation over it, you're too invested in this content in a very unhealthy way. Now, I don't know who was calling for death or cancellation over this. I didn't see any of that. Maybe there was some small demographic of people who wanted that to happen, and he was responding to them here, but it seems more to me like he was responding to the fact that a lot of people were just making fun of him and calling him a rat. And once again, I'm not an expert at World of Warcraft, but I will say that when literally every top WoW streamer says that you made a massive mistake that cost 2 of your teammates their entire characters, I'm more inclined to believe them than you. And also, the biggest thing people were mad about wasn't even what Pirate did in the first place. It was really just his egotistical response after his teammates' characters had died. Even if he was somehow not 100% the one who was at fault, playing the blame game and refusing to take accountability right after your guild members lost 100+ hours of playtime is a pretty silly thing to do. Like, obviously people are going to be like, all right, buddy, what's going on here? Thor. Oh, did I mention that? That's his name. Well, his name is Jason, but he goes by his middle name, Thor, because it's like more epic. Where's Loki? Where's Iron Man? But Pirate had been banning a lot of people in his chat over this situation, so he decided to respond to them, saying, those who are banned will stay so. For those that don't understand why they will stay banned, we had a 10-hour-long hate raid over it on Twitch. We had to ban nearly 4,000 accounts across all platforms, and our moderators received death threats regularly throughout it all. People called for me to be killed, both in-game and out of game. They tried to get me banned from Twitch, the guild, and World of Warcraft. They tried to make disparaging comments about our ferret rescue, or that we somehow hurt animals. They tried to spread rumors saying I was convicted of felonies and many other things. The internet hate machine will not defeat me or the community that supports me. See you in WoW Hardcore tomorrow. Now, I'm sure that he did get some level of hatred and just like insane people in his chat over this, because that does happen in every situation like this. But I will say it is kind of crazy how he's using that seemingly to wave all the criticism away by saying, oh, I'm getting death threats. Getting backlash for something you did, saying you're getting death threats without providing any proof, well, it's as simple as that. It happened for sure. And on top of that, like, this guy is a massive streamer. He has to know that publicly acknowledging crazy people is not going to make crazy people go away whatsoever. Now, after this tweet was made, Pirate would even quadruple down and still just continue using every other excuse in the book to try and explain why he abandoned his team when they needed him for support.
Would you care to elaborate on what's going on? I have no idea and feel lost.
Sure. A bunch of people are really pissed off that I played World of Warcraft Hardcore, and I was blamed entirely for a bad pull. Basically, the tank pulled 2 packs and a boss. We all played like dog shit. Going from there on, the druid butt pulled another pack on the way out. The call was made to run. I ran, and I ran further than other people wanted to, and then the call was made to not run. So I didn't run back in. And there was, at that point, it felt like there was no reason to run back in. At that point, I didn't really want to, and that's it.
By now, the levels of doubling down had gotten so absurd that the main criticism had shifted from the initial WoW interaction to basically just saying that Pirate Software has a massive ego, that his ego is extremely fragile, that he's insecure. And after reviewing all of this drama, a decision was ultimately made to kick Pirate Software out of the OnlyFans guild just 1 day later. So he was officially permanently removed from the streamer group for what happened. And what's ironic is that I think if he had just responded differently, it might not have gone down that way, but because he was such a baby, absolute baby, it really backfired. Now, following this controversy, more information about Pirate Software began to circulate, prompting people to look into his past behavior. One clip from the game Ashes of Creation, which is an MMO that he's frequently promoted, gained a lot of attention. The reason why is because in the clip, Pirate was taking part in a raid, which is a larger version of a dungeon. During the raid, he cast a spell that unintentionally drew additional monsters, resulting in the death of several group members. While this game wasn't hardcore, meaning characters weren't permanently lost when they died, some items were lost as a consequence. And so immediately after that incident, Pirate became angry and stated that whoever caused the additional monsters to attack would be removed from the group, emphasizing that such a mistake was unacceptable. However, a clipper reviewed the footage and identified that Pirate Software was clearly the person responsible for this happening. So if anyone should have been removed, it was him.
So one of you pulled the ocular. Why? Now half the raid is dead. Was there a reason for that? The lightning ball I cast lightning ball before that Oculus appeared, and half the raid was in the back because they pulled the wrong pack. I'm not at fault there. I'm correct there for doing that. 100%. Absolutely not at fault there. When I cast the lightning ball, nothing else was there but the targets I was hitting, and the tank had pulled a completely incorrect pack from behind our raid, guys. That is not on me. This guy sounds like he takes criticism well. You sound like you want to talk to me about it in the unban request. You're just shit-stirring. I'm just going to get rid of you. Yeah, ridiculous behavior.
Now, when he was shown the clip, Pirate watched it, but he didn't really acknowledge his mistake. Instead of admitting fault, he basically disregarded his earlier statement and claimed that his actions were justified, while once again continuing to shift blame onto others for unrelated issues that hadn't really occurred. People also sifted through old clips and found this really funny one. Basically, this was with the same group that Pirate was with when he got his 2 teammates killed, and he accidentally pulled in enemies and then did the same thing he did that would eventually become the biggest blunder ever, which, I mean, I guess he's at least consistent in his philosophy of every man for himself and abandoning his entire team all the time.
And he just immediately runs away and leaves the group so he can get ported out, and does not take any accountability for the fact he pulled an extra pack and an extra boss.
Now, at this point, seeing how insecure he was, additional information about Pirate's past surfaced that really conflicted with claims he had made publicly. Although he has worked at Blizzard, it was revealed that he was hired due to his father being a high-ranking employee at the company. Furthermore, Pirate didn't really hold a significant position during his time there, despite frequently boasting about his work at Blizzard on his streams. Another revelation involved his claims about earning DEF CON badges for hacking. It was discovered that these badges were awarded to a team he was a part of, not to him personally, although he had taken credit for them. Now, on top of that, Pirate's game Heartbound, which has been in development for nearly a decade, also became a point of contention. Now, Heartbound is basically a spin-off of Undertale. While it's unrelated to the main controversy, frustration arose from his supporters and backers who had funded the project, but still had no release after such a long time. For reference, the reason why they were pissed is because the timeline for the Kickstarter they made 7 years ago basically went like this. So in February of 2017, Pirate did a Kickstarter fundraiser for Heartbound with a release date of December 2017, so within the same year. According to an interview, Thor put the funding goal at $5,000 because he knew the money would be raised in 24 hours and a bunch of news sites would pick it up. Then the fundraiser ends on March 26, 2017. On November 1st of 2017, the game was then pushed back to early to mid 2018 because they wanted to make a larger game than was originally planned. They got a bit more ambitious. And people weren't too mad about it. They were like, all right, well, if we get a better project, then, you know, ultimately it is what it is. I'll wait a little longer. But then on February 6th, the wording changed from "we are hoping to fully finish and release Heartbound by early to mid 2018 to "we are hoping to fully finish and release Heartbound in 2018. So sometime that year instead of early to mid. On October 25th, the wording changed again from "we are hoping to fully finish and release Heartbound by early to mid 2018 to "Heartbound is launching into early access on Steam in December of 2018. Keep in mind at this point we're a year out from when the game was initially meant to be completely released. Eventually, it would actually release in early access on Steam, but from there, the development apparently shifted to a full stop in people's eyes. Now, Pirate used the excuse of it being COVID and other complications, but it was starting to become pretty apparent that the game might not be coming out anytime soon. And keep in mind, this was a Kickstarter project with backers donating money to see this game get made. You can still view Heartbound on Steam to this day, but all of the reviews are absolutely brutally negative. With the top review being, honestly, I cannot recommend this game right now. I had originally bought this to support the dev as I'd followed his streams, and he was working on it fairly consistently, or so it seemed. The only dev update this year for this game was a meme post for April Fools. This, at the time, may have been funny, but now seems pretty out of touch since it was the only 2024 update. Now, he barely works on it, if at all, and appears to have changed professions somewhere along the line to being a full-time streamer. The fact that there are multiple threads in the Heartbound Reddit asking if this game is a scam should be a massive warning sign. Stay away until this game comes out of early access and play the demo if you really want to try it. At least then you won't be out any money. Now, if you want a reference for how long this game has taken, Heartbound was announced at the start of the Trump presidency, meaning the first one, and has apparently been worked on through his entire presidency, through him leaving office, through Biden's entire presidency, and now Trump is elected for a second term and the game is still not done. This criticism has drawn a lot of comparisons between Pirate Software to figures like Yandere Dev, who's someone who basically makes very little progress on a super long delayed project despite receiving direct funding to get it done. So there's really, in people's eyes, no excuse for this game to not be out already.
I humbly submit a toast to Nicholas Alexander for successfully managing to pirate Warcraft 3 so that he may play Defense of the Ancients. Congratulations, Nick. Enjoy your Dota.
And additionally, past drama surrounding the Stop Killing Games initiative also resurfaced. Now, this initiative, proposed by a creator named Ross, sought to advocate for policies requiring companies to preserve access to games even after shutting down their servers by allowing players to host their own servers for non-commercial purposes. You see this a lot with a lot of old multiplayer and live service games like, let's say Battlefront 2, for example, right, which has no online multiplayer support that's official anymore. People want to have private servers to be able to play these games. Or like old Call of Duty games, think like Modern Warfare 1 and 2, games like that. The TLDR is that major game companies like to completely shut down access to games once they stop hosting servers for them, even if communities want to host their own local servers that would be of no cost to the company. And keep in mind that these are games that people have paid money for, so they want to be able to play them. There was this game called Worlds Adrift that was this multiplayer game where you built flying pirate ships with your friends and explored these floating islands with grappling hooks and could battle other people in dogfights and shootouts. It seems pretty awesome. I've never really played it, but it seems pretty sick, not gonna lie. But in 2019, for literally no reason, the team decided to completely abandon this early access game and shut down the servers. Now, this could have been fine on the surface because the community for it was still very active and vibrant, but for no good reason whatsoever, they barred modders and anyone wanting to locally host from accessing the game at all. Keep in mind that this would have been at no cost to the developers if the community wanted to host their own servers. But for some dumbass reason, they barred anyone from using the tools to locally host and effectively killed out an entire community full of thousands of people. So Ross's solution to this was to basically require video games sold to customers to be in reasonably working state at the time of shutdown and end of support. He wanted to prohibit any requirement for video games sold to customers to connect to the publisher or affiliated parties after support ended. And the above would also apply to video games that sold game assets or features like, microtransactions to customers, stuff like that, right? Seems like a pretty cool idea. You can preserve these games that seemingly people would never be able to play again, games that people paid money for, and all at no cost to the developer. People are only doing this after there's no online support anymore from official sources. Well, for some reason, Pirate publicly opposed this initiative, releasing a video response where he insulted Ross, refused to engage with him directly, and deleted Ross's replies to the video.
We're gonna pose a problem to you and then shit on your desk and then make you clean it up and figure it out. It's a nail bomb to take out a wasp nest.
3 hit, ready? They have ceased to exist.
Require publishers to leave games they have sold to customers in a working state at the time of shutdown.
How are you going to do that with World of Warcraft? Tens of thousands of tickets at Blizzard for private servers for World of Warcraft. And we see this all throughout their FAQ. We see it all across this. It is inflammatory language across the board that is vague. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games. To put a live service game, when we turn the servers off, the game does, because it's all rendered completely on the server side, and we do that specifically for security reasons, because if it's all rendered client side, then you'd be able to cheat the game dramatically easy. Of course we keep your money, because you bought the experience, you experienced it, and then the game was over, and eventually the community dies, and we turn the servers off, dude. No. You're going to kill the entire live service industry by doing that.
Shit, Negro. That's all you had to say.
I'm going to be real with you. I dropped the mask entirely. I'd eat shit. I have no games. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. Because the government, as that last poster put so eloquently, it's a nail bomb to take out my entire ass. And it creates a litany of new issues. I'd shit on your desk and then make you clean it up and figure it out because I'm Jesus Christ. And we got tens of thousands of nail bombs at Blizzard in your ass. That's how live service games work.
When faced with criticism as to why he was shitting on this so hard, Pirate made several live streams doubling and tripling down, only to be proven incorrect over and over. Now, does this sound familiar? The funniest part of all of this is that later down the line, Pirate would launch a video game publishing company with Ludwig, and what was the first game published? Rivals of Aether 2, a live service game that would directly conflict with this initiative to preserve games like this. When people pointed out the fact that he failed to disclose this when he went on his crusade against Stop Killing Games, their posts would get deleted for misinformation, and in one case have their YouTube video get taken down by Pirate, apparently. As suspicions about Pirate Software's authenticity grew, viewers began reviewing past streams and noticed some inconsistencies with his playthroughs of puzzle games like Animal Well and Outer Wilds. These streams were presented as him solving the puzzles independently. In Animal Well, he managed to solve puzzles that were impossible to complete without external guidance, as they required either collaboration with other players or knowledge of the puzzles further ahead of playing the game. And this raised a lot of doubts about his claims of solving them solo. Albino Live even created a video analyzing these various inconsistencies.
When you complete a math test, your teacher will say, oh, you got the answer right, but all your progress was wrong. When he solves it here, it's just like... It's so immediate. He immediately just knows everything. All the dots are connected like, boom, immediately.
In Outer Wilds, he displayed similarly questionable behavior, making illogical leaps in reasoning to solve puzzles that he wouldn't have had the information to solve at this stage of the game. At one point, he pretended to walk away from the stream to handle something else in what appeared to be a staged manner. People speculate that in reality, he was basically searching for a puzzle solution on his phone, at which point he could then come back and figure it out.
There's no way that he would be this blatant about it though, right? Like, he's clearly looking at his phone right now. There's no way he would go from that and just instantly solve it. Like, you would at least fake trying to figure it out for another minute or two, right? Like...
Oh, is it still too early? Oh, damn. It might actually still be too early.
When he was confronted, Pirate falsely claimed that these playthroughs involved assistance from his chat, despite the streams portraying the solutions as entirely his own ideas. He had also misrepresented the time it took to solve the puzzles, stating that they took longer than what was shown.
Yeah, we played it for 83 hours, and we actually did it like a week after launch. So there's a bunch of people that are trying to say that, you know, it took weeks for the community to solve this, but in reality, like, we did that like a few days after launch. So, like, no. And also, there was nothing on there that said we did that blind. We were playing around with the community. Everybody was trying to chip in to give it answers, and it took us like 5-6 hours for most of those puzzles.
So around this point, clips also started going around of an old interview with a younger pirate where his voice sounds very different than it does now. Like, very, very, very different. And this basically is part of a long-running conspiracy that Pirate Software is faking his voice. That he has a voice changer to deepen his own voice on stream to sound like more of a Chad.
I'm here with Thor, founder of Pirate Software. How's your show been so far?
It's actually been amazing. It's our first time out here at Denver Comic-Con, and there's so many people, and they love the games, so it's been awesome.
So speaking of games, what do you have for us today?
So we have Champions of Breakfast, which is a twin-stick shooter that we made in 24 days.
But there were also several clips of Pirate speaking IRL with other streamers and at conventions where he sounds pretty much the same, so I'm not sure if this claim holds any water of him deepening his voice. It's possible he's doing it, but I'm just not really sure.
Went back to the doctor. Doctor's like, hey, sometimes in your early 30s, your voice can change as a man, and it's effectively second puberty. This is what I used to sound like. That's what I used to look like to this 5 years ago. Wait for this. This is awful.
My hot dogs are freshly picked. I'm gonna have to peel it. I'm gonna have to peel my hot dog.
Yeah, that was it, dude.
Every good hot dog needs to be peeled.
But the biggest question on everyone's minds regarding all of this, whether it be the more dubious claim of him faking his voice, or him, let's say, talking up how much of a great gamer he is in WoW while not really being that good, or by, you know, maybe cheating in puzzle games, like, the question is, why would he do this? And I think the answer is somewhat obvious if you look back at the controversy that started this all. Pirate Software, Thor, Jason Thor, whatever, cares a lot about how he is viewed in the public eye. So much so that he will quadruple down on an issue just to never admit he was wrong. I think he cares more about seeming like this cool, awesome, hip indie game dev with a 200 IQ than he cares about actually being one, which is why he would cheat in a puzzle game. So people view him as an intelligent, genius gamer guy. Whether he actually did so or not is somewhat up in the air, I guess, but looking at how he reacted to his ego being bruised in the World of Warcraft drama, I don't think it's implausible, and a lot of people have presented compelling evidence for the idea that he did, in fact, use like a guide while playing this game, which he did not disclose. Now, since this drama has started, Pirate made a very long response that he calls his final response, but who knows if it actually will be the final response. He said, "This OnlyFang stuff actually sucks. Lots of weird attack posts and people taking it too far, putting everything in one place and washing my hands of it after this. To start, here is the response about the Dire Mall run. From my perspective, I didn't feel I could save anyone else with the resources I had left, even with mana gem and robe cooldowns. Since the call to run was made, I followed the call and got out as quickly as possible. In every other instance where shit has hit the fan, the shot caller has called specific targets we locked in and nobody died. If you call run, 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 then everything after that is a shit show. Yamato pinned the entire thing on me, despite everyone making mistakes, and this rapidly spiraled into attacks both on and offline. The next few days was just tens of thousands of messages berating me, sending death threats, doxing, and all kinds of shit. This happened on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Steam, Reddit, Discord, and over VoIP-initiated phone calls all at the same time. Here are a few examples from just inside of WoW to give you some understanding." And what he linked here are a few people saying crazy things. We have this guy, Rope and Share, says, "Whispers, literally nothing you can do, bub. Don't leave your house because we have people waiting for you at the grocery store. You're gonna get stabbed. Hashtag BlizzCon 2025. Jesus." So what do you do in this situation? You start reporting it and banning people. We took the 10,000 plus attack accounts and reported them up for the organized hate raid that this is. It disrupted our broadcast on all platforms for the past 3 days and prevented our community from doing anything. That's a hate raid, no matter how you slice it, and it needs to be reported. We also set up automation to shut down the first message, last message, shit shit-stirring posts, which works to mostly positive effect. And so this post came out, and there were a decent amount of people who felt bad for him, which I think is fair, because I don't think anybody should be like going to his house or something, or threatening that they're going to go to his house. Like, that's unhinged. But a lot of people also in the comment section were like, bro, you're kind of obfuscating what's going on here. You're kind of not really addressing the main criticism and just focusing on the most insane people, right? At this point, I think the best thing he can do is stop feeding the fire and just try to move on. But it seems like for now, there's like kind of two aspects of this. It's like there are crazy people in the audience who are coming after him, and those people should be condemned. And I feel bad for him for that. But at the same time, it also seems like he kind of can't get over people calling him a fraud or a rat or whatever else. Stinky? Smelly? Gay. They're calling him gay. This is really one of those classic cases of an avalanche being started by a pebble. It began with people perceiving his behavior in World of Warcraft as arrogant and lacking responsibility, being unwilling to take that responsibility for your teammates. And frankly, when I was watching this drama at the beginning, that's where I thought this whole story was gonna stay. But the problem is that Pirate Software refused to acknowledge wrongdoing at all and was clearly pissed off that people thought that he was very bad at the game. And so instead of addressing these concerns, he decided to double down. And that's definitely the reason why people started digging into his past more and more, because they perceived that there was more under the surface, which he was hiding. If Pirate Software from the beginning had just said, my bad boys, it was my fault, I'm not that good at the game, I feel like this entire drama could have ended and he could have been fine. But for some reason, he chose to die on this hill. In terms of his career overall, he'll most likely be fine. I mean, comparatively, this drama isn't nearly as bad as someone like Dr. Disrespect. And if Dr. Disrespect could admit to having relations with a minor and still average like 500,000 views on a stream buds, then I think that Pirate Software will be just fine. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Hopefully tomorrow. It will be effed up. Goodbye.
This is Tom Dog going cold turkey, boss. I already told you, stop gooning and jerking off. You saw the merch, make a purchase, dog. Got all the thirsty thoughts in a twerkathon. They all trying to slurp to my jerky soft. I had enough, had to bust in the Kirkland sock. Barefoot, raw dogging in my Birkenstocks. Then it's back to the turkey slop, cause the work don't stop.